attack right back. I mean, that's a great start. No Curlia to fall back on, but you do have the Buddy Catch from Gallade to just go search for supporter cards every turn, so that's probably going to be enough to keep you going. And because of how these Lost Zone decks work, they don't do a lot of direct damage early on in the game, so this Zacian V probably isn't going to be knocked out. So you also have time to draw into other things.
Very true. Again, it's important to remote. Keep stressing it. That Penny and Collapse Stadium key cards. We might have also found the Cresselia off the prize cards. So that is also a way that if the Zacian slowly takes damage, you can slowly heal it over time with something like the Moonblow Reverse.
Yeah. Here, I'm curious to see how far Pedro Torres is going to push. You can get to 10 in the Lost Zone this turn. It's going to mean you use 3 Comfey. But if you do, you can start using Sableye Lost Mine and start to spread damage everywhere. So we'll see if that's what he wants to go for, because otherwise, the only other attack he could even pull off this turn would be with a Cramorant. So you got to think that Lost Mine is on the mind. Lost Mine is on the mind for Pedro Torres. Hard to say.
A little bit of a tongue twister there. And already presented with his first tough choice. Do you keep this Cramorant, give yourself the guaranteed damage, or do you push and risk it? And I think this is a solid option. You can set the Zacian up in range to be knocked out the following turn. You can also start to put pressure on some of those low HP Pokemon. We'll just need an S-Ball. And finding this third Comfey, 3 Flower Selectings, Pedro Eugenio Torres to that magic number 10. As long as there's enough switching cards, I think 2 Psychic Energy are in the hand as it stands. So that's piece number 1. Just needs to also find the Sableye and some ways to pivot out with Flower Selecting. That's what you're going to need to get yourself to Lost Mine this turn.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out what kind of the game plan will be for Pedro Torres at this point. I wonder if there's merit to just trying to take prize cards quickly so that you can start to get one of those fire energy out of your prize cards so that you can have an option to use Radiant Charizard later in the game. I feel like it might be difficult to close out the game if you don't have access to attacking with Combustion Blast. We'll see how Pedro Torres wants to play this one. The first thing you need to do is use Flower Selecting 3 different times. It requires you to put Comfey into the active spot, which looks like it's going to be pretty trivial here. You see another switching card with the switch card taken there. And once you get to that magic number 10 cards into the Lost Zone, you can use Sableye's Lost Mine, and that's when this strategy starts to really get into action.
1 away, and with that switch card and 1 more switching card in the hand, that will be enough. I'm actually not sure if there is. Okay, so there is the escape rope. The escape rope and the new Pokegear 3.0 are I think the same background color around the object. So, I mean, if you're a Pedro producer here, what Pokemon do you want to give Pedro the opportunity to have? Or, I mean, does it really even matter? If your opponent's pretty much projecting Sableye, it feels like you just bring up the Mew. It's just a free ability to use Mysterious Tail. However, if you don't have the manual attachment, you are going to have to put more damage counters on it. That seems like the only downside.
Yeah, I mean, you have to wonder, is your opponent just going to knock out your Mew anyway, though? So, I don't know. Seems like a pretty easy